Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the HR on the Go show. This is where top trends and hot topics relating to HR and people management are coming your way. So buckle up and prepare for takeoff. Now, with this episode, we have actually invited a very special guest, which will be introduced later on. Um, Now, previously, we have seen back-to-back public hearings organized by the Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board of Region 3 in terms of the minimum wage adjustment. And now it's actually their sixth public hearing, where the seventh will be conducted on the May 12, no, or this coming Thursday. So actually meron pa yata no na public hearing na inorganize ngayon, which will happen tomorrow, which is the sixth public hearing at the Max Restaurant. Now, of course, with this, we will be, of course, no, pag-aano pa natin o pag-aaralan pa natin kung ano pang pwede malaman natin updates no to be provided no sa ating speaker for the day. Now, to guide, provide and empower our stakeholders with appropriate information to better protect workers everywhere in the country, their workers, of course, colleagues and families. We have invited Miss Geraldine Panlilio, the Regional Director of DOLE Office Number 3, to talk about the most recent prescribed minimum wages raise for private sector workers. And of course, our aim is to strengthen the communication efforts so that more workers are aware of the benefits that their mandated contributions might provide. So later on, we'll be talking about as well, no, the updates on the new handbook on worker statutory monetary benefits. So with this, of course, no, hindi na natin papatagalin pa. Let us, of course, introduce no, our speaker or our guest for this show, Miss Geraldine. Ayan, we'll be adding Miss Geraldine now on the screen. Ayan, good afternoon, Miss Geraldine.
Good afternoon, Jester. Good afternoon to all those who are watching HR on the go. Hello, everyone.
Ayan. So, a warm welcome from our RD, no? So, sino nga ba, no? Si RD. So, RD Geraldine Panlilio, who previously served as the DOLE 3 OIC Regional Director. Now, RD Panlilio has served in DOLE Central Luzon since 1993 as a rank and file employee. So, in a span of 8 years, she already took a supervisory position in the same agency. In 2004, she was assigned as the OIC Assistant Regional Director, which was formally appointed to her in 2014. Of course, without further ado, no, again, this is RD Geraldine Panlilio. Now, Miss Geraldine, no, ngayong Labor Month, kamusta po tayo?
Okay lang. Of course, alam mo naman, araw ng manggagawa ang Mayo
Mhm.
at ito din ang binibigay nating pagkakataon upang we will be able to provide services to our workers and
Mhm.
potential members of the workforce,
Mhm.
yung nasa labor force na out
Mhm.
of work, who still wants to work, who
Mhm.
are looking for jobs, no?
Mhm.
So palagi naman during Labor Day, meron tayong job fair. So
Mhm.
nagkaroon tayo ng trabaho, negosyo, kabuhayan fair or job and
Mhm.
business fair noong May 1, just in
Mhm.
time for celebration of Labor Day. At
Right.
marami naman doon ang nakakuha ng trabaho. Some are
Mhm.
near hires, meaning
Mhm.
nasa process pa sila of getting hired, completing
Mhm.
their requirements. So, meron naman din tayong mga hired on the spot. So, yun yung ginawa natin for the whole, in celebration of Labor Day.
Mhm.
At syempre, ginawa natin yun. That was actually the National Labor Day celebration.
Mhm.
Kasi binuksan din natin yung OFW hospital for the
Mhm.
workers din ng overseas, no? Nung May 1. So, yon ang naging ano natin, naging parang activity natin for activities actually, two activities for Labor Day.
Mhm. Ayun, no, and of course, no, with our pertinent issues ngayon, no, mukhang excited itong ating mga ano, no, mga
Jester, hindi ko nakuha kasi parang naka-mute ka sa akin.
Okay. So, let me
Ayan.
just check again. Um,
Mm.
how about now? Can you hear me po ba?
Yes, yes, yes. Now I
Okay.
can hear you.
All right. There you go. So, with that, Miss Geraldine, no, we've been seeing back-to-back activities, no, organized by the Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board about the public hearing, no, and then actually we're down to our last two public hearing, which is tomorrow and on the May 12th, no. So in this regard, Miss Geraldine, um, why is it best that we hold a public hearing for the Central Luzon on minimum wage adjustment?
Yes. Uh, Very important that we hold public hearings, no? Actually, it's a requirement of the guidelines on
Mm-hmm.
adjustment of minimum wage. It's primary. Secondary, or very important, equally important, is we want to listen to
Mm-hmm.
what the people or the companies concerned also have to say about the
Mm-hmm.
proposed or the petition for adjustment of minimum wage in Region 3, and that would be for the private sector employees. Of
Right.
course, if we are going to do some adjustment in the minimum wage,
Mm-hmm.
we will have some issues to contend with those who will be providing the adjustment, and that would be the companies. And then we also have to look into what those who will benefit from the adjustment. If it is an increase, of course we cannot decrease, it's always an
Mm-hmm.
increase if there will be an
Right.
adjustment. So what do our workers have to say about this? So we listen to their sentiments, if they have their issues, and
Mm-hmm.
then we also give them opportunities to provide us with significant data if they
Mm-hmm.
have researches on that, so that we
Mm-hmm.
will consider that during our deliberation. It
Mm-hmm.
is not actually a unilateral decision on the part of the board. That is why we need to really consult, have public hearings. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, the requirement of the guidelines is only one public hearing, but we usually in Region 3 we do public hearings in the 7 provinces. That is why
Right.
you are correct in saying that we will have the 6th tomorrow at Max's Restaurant in Tarlac, and then on the 12th that would be in Nueva Ecija.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a necessary requirement, or a requirement, a requisite before the
Mm-hmm.
actual deliberation by the board.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Right. No, fortunately, it's still very timely since the last increase or wage order that was issued was last January 2020, providing an additional 20 pesos per day, for minimum wage earners, and 500 pesos per month for domestic or home workers. So that's just 2 years ago. But now again, DOLE and the Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board, is now opening its doors, for the wage adjustment again this year. So of course, this is very timely as we are now seeing a growing living cost, um, as well as their desire, of course, to recuperate with their loss in purchasing power as a result of the, of course, rising oil and other basic commodity prices. So this is very timely, that we've been seeing progress, with the minimum wage adjustment, through the Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board. In this regard, Ms. Geraldine, are we seeing substantial changes given the fact that we are now in the last two public hearing? Are we seeing substantial changes or chances of increasing the minimum wage for Central Luzon employees? Yes, based on the recent public hearings conducted.
For the 5 public hearings that we have conducted, both labor and management
Mm-hmm.
representatives have the same sentiments, meaning the labor sector have the same sentiments as the rest of the provinces. Let's say from Pampanga, they have the same
Mm-hmm.
sentiment as those in Bulacan, and then as
Mm-hmm.
those in Zambales.
Mhm.
Same goes with those who are representing management.
Mhm.
So if your question is, is there development or progress in the discussion, they say the same things, meaning
Mhm.
of course they are of different sectoral interests.
Mhm.
I am not saying biases but interests, and what we can see is that labor is of course harping on what you have said, the increase in the prices of fuel, which of
Mhm.
course have a resultant effect in the prices of other prime commodities,
Mhm.
and then the purchasing power of the peso, which
Mhm.
has of course declined because
Right.
of inflation and other problems which
Mhm.
our workers have been telling us should be considered for
Mhm.
an increase in the or an adjustment in the minimum wage. And
Mhm.
then of course on the side of management, they are saying that we are just slowly recovering from the effects of the pandemic. To businesses, a lot have either closed or
Mhm.
temporarily shut down. So issues like that.
Right.
So we of course present to them also the data which we have gathered through our researches,
Mhm.
our surveys, and then we also allow our vice chairpersons from the NEDA. In fact, the discussants are none other than the regional director. Of course,
Mhm.
the regional director of NEDA, Ms. Gina Gapusan, who is a vice chairperson of the wage board, is the one discussing about the socioeconomic indicators,
Mhm.
consumer price index, and other substantial information,
Right.
which would be necessary inputs to the deliberation and, of course, to the discussion of any adjustment. In the same manner that we are also lucky to have the regional director of DTI, who is also a vice chairperson, and that is Director Lenny Baluyot, who
Mhm.
discussed, on the other hand, every public hearing, the price monitoring being done by DTI,
Mhm.
how many of the commodities monitored by DTI have increased in prices. So we are looking into the purchasing power, how much did the peso decrease in its value,
Mhm.
and how much can a 100 peso in the past can now buy due to the so many factors that we have to consider, the socioeconomic indicators, or is
Right.
the economy really growing now? Are we
Mhm.
slowly recovering?
Mhm.
So all of these things are being discussed in all the public hearings, and in most of the actually in all of the public hearings we
Mhm.
have the same issues being raised.
Mhm.
Let For management, let us try to delay it a little because businesses are just slowly recovering. So
Right.
those are the things which management, usually represented by the HR, are saying, no, are saying to the board,
Mhm.
the deliberation.
Right. Now, in case after the seventh public hearing, usually, Miss Geraldine, no, what are the next steps po ba after the seventh or the final public hearing? What would
The,
be the
the,
next activities that will happen after the last public hearing?
we will have the deliberation.
Mm-hmm.
The deliberation will be attended by the seven members of the board,
Mm-hmm.
DOLE, me as the chairperson, and then we have vice chairs from NEDA, the regional director of NEDA, the regional director of DTI as vice chairpersons. And then
Mm-hmm.
we have two representatives from management. Mr. Marco de Pomoceno is ECOP representative. I think he's the president of ECOP Pampanga. And then Ms. Dedette Reyes, Rayael, is from PMAP. And
Mm-hmm.
then that would be the management representatives. Those are the management representatives. And then labor representatives, we have Mr. Raul Remodo from TUCP, and then we have Mr. Edgar Ventura from FFW. So after presentation of all the data we gathered,
Mm-hmm.
what our participants from the public hearing said, if there were some position papers aside
Mm-hmm.
from the petition which we received, no, which is being deliberated on, of course. Then we will look into all the data available, the
Mm-hmm.
information we have gathered, and then we will deliberate. Of course, labor has their own representatives, and the management has their own. So
Mm-hmm.
it will be, of course, discussions on which should prevail. Should there be
Mm-hmm.
an adjustment or not? So
Mm-hmm.
since we have seven, so it will
Mm-hmm.
be a majority vote.
Right.
So if four out of the seven members will vote yes to the adjustment, then there will be
Mm-hmm.
an adjustment. But another issue is how much would be the
Right.
adjustment.
Mm-hmm. Right. Since that the ano the of course no um it is the role no of the regional tripartite board no to ano nga to still parang finalize no yung ating wage adjustment. Now, in this regard, though, Miss Geraldine, in case that we're seeing a wage adjustment, no, in the coming weeks, no, or in the coming months, no, what criteria and coverage should employers follow if there's an increase? Kasi the increase would not just affect the workers but also the employers. So, ano ba yung mga criteria at coverage ng ano, na mga employers ang dapat nilang sundan?
I cannot hear you again, naglag ka.
Ay, okay. All right. So, in case of an increase, Miss Geraldine, can you hear me now? Miss Geraldine? Yeah. Miss Geraldine, can you hear me now? Okay. Can you hear me now, Miss
Yes,
Geraldine?
yes, I can.
Okay, there you go. Right. Now, in case of an increase, what criteria or coverage should employers follow? Since the affected ones not just will not just be the employees but also the employers. So, what criteria or coverage should the employers follow? Increase
Of
in case
course,
of an increase.
we are going to issue a wage order. No?
Mm-hmm.
So the wage order will have provisions on who will be entitled,
Mm-hmm.
who are covered. No, so those those provisions should be followed by
Mm-hmm.
the companies, especially those who are just providing the minimum wage. But for those who are not providing the minimum wage, meaning they give their employees or they pay wages higher than the minimum wage, then
Right.
they will not be covered by that.
Mm-hmm.
Except, of course, if the rate of the increase will be more than what their lowest paid employees getting, then they have to adjust. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there will be a problem on wage distortion, meaning, of
Right.
course, if you adjust the minimum wage, some of those who are just receiving a little over the minimum wage might be
Correct.
affected.
Mm-hmm.
And those who are on the next tier maybe will also be affected. So we also have some suggested formulas for wage
Right.
distortion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
and this is
that is not a requirement, okay?
mm-hmm.
That is not for legal compliance. If you do not cure distortion,
Mm-hmm.
then it does not mean that you are violating an order, the wage order, or any law. But of course, you have to consider that there will be employees, as you have said, employees will
Mm-hmm.
be affected positively, but it might be negative if the supervisors will have just a little increase, or they will
Mm-hmm.
not be increased, and then there will be no increase in their salaries, but the minimum wage earner will get an increase, and then you are going to lessen the gap, no, between
Mhm.
the supervisors and the rank and file employees. Then you have to correct that because
Mhm.
the supervisors will feel left out if ever that
Right.
will
Mhm.
happen. So it's up to the company to see what are the things that they should do in order to ensure that workers not only in the lowest level or the
Mhm.
lowest tier will be happy because they received a mandated government increase. Those who
Right.
are already receiving more than that should also be given the same increase if possible. If
Mhm.
possible,
That is very true and correct. No, since if the wage distortion is not corrected, no, it could lead to demoralization, and
that's
then
true.
of course in turn, no, it could disrupt the harmonious work relationships. Now, one thing good about the NWPC or the National Wages and Productivity Commissions, no, they've actually suggested various formulas already that would address no the wage distortion. So this is actually freely available on the DOLE website. So in case
Yes.
that you would like to correct the wage distortion, no, this is available, no, the formulas, no, for wage distortion. Now, in case that this will happen in the near future, what is the ultimatum or the deadline given to the companies, no, in terms of the adherence to the minimum wage adjustment?
Uh, the wage order will also include the effectivity of
Mm-hmm.
the increase, meaning when should you give the increase. Then that is the ultimatum.
Right.
That they should already adjust the minimum wage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, we have some administrative remedies. Of course, they can apply for exemption, but
Mm-hmm.
exemption is now only limited to those who really were affected by force majeure.
Right.
And then another would be those retail establishments employing less than 10
Mm-hmm.
only. So distressed establishments was uh, was not included in the last guideline which the NWPC released. So
Mm-hmm.
those who are really having a difficulty and they fall under that category, the less than
Mm-hmm.
10 retail employees of retail and service establishments, then they can qualify after submitting the necessary requirements for the application to prosper.
Right. And then for example, worst case scenario, given that we have given the wage order, no, and then no, meron ng effectivity date. What will happen now if they fail to adhere to the minimum wage adjustment? Let's say, for example, that the employer just decided to adjust its minimum wage by November, or by December, or by next year. What will be the challenges, no, na makukuha ng mga employers in case that they fail to adhere to the effective date, no, of the minimum wage order.
Of course, the DOLE will, upon knowledge of that,
Mm-hmm.
of course, there should be a cost to act, meaning we should
Right.
know no, that the company is not complying. Then we will, of course, ask the company, direct the company to comply. And
Mm-hmm.
if there is a blatant refusal on the part of the company, there is also double indemnity.
Mm-hmm.
The claims might be doubled if we see that there is blatant refusal. So it depends, no. But for establishments in Central Luzon, we have
Mm-hmm.
always seen a culture of compliance, and we are very
Right.
thankful for that. I,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I'm very thankful that with the culture of compliance of companies, particularly those inside Clark, then we do not see
Mm-hmm.
any problem on compliance actually. But if there will be companies who would really blatantly refuse to
Mm-hmm.
comply with that order, then of course the DOLE has its regulatory power to pursue cases against them.
Mm-hmm. Right. So now let's talk about the displaced workers. So Dolly has been very, active in providing various assistance, no, to our employees, no. So with this Tupad payout assistance, can still workers avail of this? We've actually seen Davao Dole, no, extending its Tupad payout assistance. Now in this regard, is the Tupad payout assistance still active or available in Central Luzon, Miss Geraldine?
Okay, let me clarify.
Mm-hmm.
For workers, TUPAD is not the right program
Mm-hmm.
for provision of assistance. No, actually, for displaced workers, we had programs which is the CAMP, COVID
Mm-hmm.
Adjustment Measure Program, which we were able to provide to thousands of workers, hundreds of thousands of workers
Right.
for Camp 1, 2, and 3. Those companies which were affected by temporary closure,
Mm-hmm.
permanent closure, or other flexible work arrangements, then we gave workers 5,000 financial assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at this time, we do not have that anymore
Mm-hmm.
because we have been slowly opening, the country, Central Luzon's economy slowly recovering, and a lot of companies which temporarily closed during the pandemic are
Mm-hmm.
slowly opening
Right.
their companies, no, so or operating already, some on full capacity. So we do not have the camp anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have been providing now, of course, is if the companies require RT-PCR,
Mm-hmm.
then DOLE will shoulder the RT-PCR of new hires. So
Mm-hmm.
that is just one of the programs that we are now giving. Of course, we are looking into the health and safety of the workers through the provision of safety seal certification, so
Right.
we can really encourage,
Mm-hmm.
customers. We encourage people to avail of the services of companies which are now opening their businesses, because these are safe companies,
Mm-hmm.
that your health will be protected. So those are the programs which we are providing at this time to really assist the economy in recovering, to its full potential. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, we're happy to hear from NEDA that we have already seen some growth. No, the economy contracted by 13 something percent in 2020. It
Mm-hmm.
has now grown, I think, to around 7.8 or something,
Mm-hmm.
which of course is a very welcome development, which means that the country, Central Luzon, that was a Central Luzon figure. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what I said about the growth of the economy is a Central Luzon figure being discussed by NEDA during our wage board consultations and deliberation. So what we are doing now at DOLE is assisting, no, assisting companies to really retain more workers, maybe get more workers, generate jobs. So we
Mm-hmm.
have the National Employment Recovery Strategy. Actually, it was just the 1 million jobs, no? But I
Mm-hmm.
think we were able to surpass it to already 2 million jobs. So we are
Right.
there now into the recovery phase. So no more ayuda muna at this
Mm-hmm.
time. Pero yung tupad is for the informal workers, those who
Mm-hmm.
are out of work. So those who are not working in the formal sector are
Mm-hmm.
qualified to engage in emergency employment. At yun yung tupad.
Mm-hmm.
So hindi
So,
para sa manggagawang nasa pribadong sektor.
mm-hmm. So in this case, Miss Geraldine, this is still active? Is that correct? The Tupad
Yes, yes,
assistance.
yes, we have.
Okay. So in case of
Tupad,
the. Mm-hmm.
actually, it's not an assistance. It is a employment modality, meaning workers or those who are out of work or informal
Mhm.
workers can work for 10 days,
Mhm.
depending on the work plan
Mhm.
submitted by the local government unit which we partner with.
Mhm.
Let's say in one municipality, so they will be cleaning canals or they will
Mhm.
be cleaning the streets.
Right.
So it depends on the work plan. And then they will work for 10 days at 420 pesos each day. Then they will get paid 4,200. So that
Mhm.
the tupad is actually hanap buhay. No, it
Right.
is
Right.
not an assistance
Mhm.
which we give without the work being done. So it's a kumbaga parang cash for work, no? Cash for
Mhm.
work. Emergency employment
Right.
program.
And that is actually a great no avenue for others nga na mga display. So in this regard, Miss Geraldine, how can they qualify ba for this one? Or where is the best place for them to obtain such work like this for para at least makapagtrabaho sila for at least 10 days no pang pagdagdag
Yes, yes.
gastos man lang while they're waiting for the employment.
Yes. A Jester, they can always go to their public employment service offices in
Mhm.
their respective municipalities. Tapos, they can also go to DOLE, write
Mhm.
to us if they want to avail of that emergency employment program.
Mhm.
And then we will refer them to the nearest, to the PESO where their LGU is located.
Mhm.
No, so they can, as long as they are out of work, they are
Mhm.
qualified. So meaning if they
Mhm.
are displaced, yes, they are qualified,
Mhm.
and they are more than 18 years old and above. Of course, senior citizens can also avail as long as they are fit to work.
Mhm.
So they should not have received TUPAD for this year if they want to avail of the 2022 TUPAD. No, so
Mhm.
we can still provide them with that program.
Right. Now, in this regard as well, you have mentioned, Ms. Geraldine, about the job fairs being organized by DOLE. So, in this regard, no, um, do we see Peso now organizing job fairs in the coming weeks or days, or will we be seeing a job fair no being organized sa mismong Labor Day?
Tapos na yung sa Labor Day. So we
Mm-hmm.
have now the next job fair, big job fair,
Mm-hmm.
would be the Independence Day job fair on June 12. And
June
it
12.
will, yes, it will be conducted at the Iglesia ni Cristo in Bulacan, in
Mm-hmm.
their arena. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
arena. They call it, I think, arena. So
Mm-hmm.
it will be conducted there. So we will have thousands of job vacancies
Mm-hmm.
and hundreds of employers again to be invited to showcase their vacancies, and then of course we will bridge the gap between the employer and the employees through that job fair. So that would be the next big job fair which we will conduct for this year, right in time before the new president gets sworn in. No,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Ayun. So, sa mga
June
ano,
12
mga
yun, June 12.
June 12. Ayun po, no. So sa mga nag-aabang, meron po no job fair on June 12, no. Details will be provided. Just check out the Facebook page no of the DOLE, and then
Yes,
this
we
will be
have.
ayun posted po there. Ayan. Now, of course, let's now talk about the updates on the new handbook on workers statutory monetary benefits. Now, as I have read previously no dito sa ating 2022 handbook no, they have actually reflected already the latest prescribed minimum wage rates of workers in the private sector, no, including the increase in the minimum wage of kasambahay. Now, Miss Geraldine, are there any updates po ba na dapat naming makita dito sa uh, newly issued the Handbook on Workers' Statutory Monetary Benefits, no, for the benefit of others who haven't still took a copy of this handbook?
Oo, siyempre kumuha na kayo ng kopya, downloadable naman 'yan sa
Mhm.
website ng DOLE, and
Mhm.
of course we will not be able to provide you with the updated minimum wage
Right.
because that is still 2020, January 2020. So I think we do not have a lot of changes in the handbook, no.
Mhm.
Of course it's just easier to understand now if you have
Mhm.
had handbooks in the past. And then,
Mhm.
of course, if what is in the minimum wage? Is that for NCR? NCR yan, no?
Mhm.
So wait na lang po for the wage order naman to be released by the the region. Actually, for this year, 3 years na pala walang
Mhm.
wage increase, no, na in-issue ang anumang regional office.
Right.
Ang Central Luzon nga, Central Luzon Wage Board, isa na nga sa pinaka latest na nakapag-issue. There are
Mhm.
regions which were not able to issue as long as 4 years.
Mhm.
Ganon.
Mhm.
So medyo hindi na talaga updated yung ibang mga wages, minimum wage rates, no. So I just enjoin everyone to invite everyone, I should say, to download na yung ating handbook on statutory minimum wage and other benefits
Mhm.
for your guidance. No,
Mhm.
very important that you have one. Then downloadable naman din yung bagong labor code, no, na concise version.
Mhm.
So hindi na kailangan bumibili. Kaya wala nang bookstore yata, sarado na lahat ng
Oo.
bookstore. Yun, ano?
Mhm.
Sarado na yung mga
Digital copies na lahat.
digital copies, yes. Very
Right.
easy. You
Mhm.
carry your iPad, you carry your laptop, and everything is in there. It's a
Mhm.
whole library that you have. Unlike in the
Mhm.
past, nung panahon ng mga matatanda,
Mhm.
talagang hindi pa sinali yung sarili ko, ano. Yung mga matatanda talagang
Mhm.
may catalog pa talaga yan,
Correct.
no? So,
Mhm.
now, of course, at the click of a finger, you will see everything. All of the information that you need will be
Mhm.
there. Just be
Right.
sure to get it
Mhm.
from reliable sources because there are a lot of unreliable sources in the internet. So, yun siguro yung isang dapat natin. I know that you HR people, you are very good halos of the young generation, no? Kayang-kaya natin ninyong kunin yung mga reliable sources.
Mhm. Ayan, no, to avoid of course, no, any misinformation, no, baka naman iba na pala yung
Fake
mga
news
information na
pala.
meron. Oo, no? So tapos
Oo.
magko-complain sila. Tapos ayun, magkakaroon ng problema, hindi naman
Nakita ko
pala
po,
yun yung
eto po
totoo.
siya eh. Okay.
Oo,
So,
ayun.
ibang
So
Biblia at ibang libro pala ang ginamit niya.
that is correct. So fortunately, no, we have no actually have an access dito sa website nga from which
Ang
we can
DOLE na
download.
lang ang palagi niyong tignan. Lahat ng updates nandoon. So
Right.
makikita niyo latest issuances of DOLE, are
Mhm.
there memorandums, are there guidelines, are there
Mhm.
advisories, everything is in there. At
Mhm.
talagang ina-update naman yan. And even the contact numbers of the different regions,
Mhm.
everything is in there. News releases, press releases are there. Then we also have a radio program. So everything is being provided by DOLE so that information from DOLE na mismo makuha ninyo. Basta
Mhm.
keep on looking at the website of DOLE. Hindi kayo mawawala. Baka mauna pa nga kayo sa amin kung hindi pa namin nare-receive.
Mhm. Mhm.
Diba? You will be able to get all of the... Now, if you just need them to clarify,
Mhm.
kasi syempre for DOLE offices,
Right.
if we issue an advisory, there are some, for the reader, minsan may vague points doon that you need to be clarified, then you can
Mhm.
always come to us. You can always call us, and then we will be very happy to clarify to you whatever vague provisions that you think should be clarified.
Alright, ayun. So of course, we would also like to give this opportunity. Baka meron po kayong updates, no, RD, dito sa ating paparating na mga months or weeks na i-organize probably or ipoprovide na information ni Dolly R3. So ayan, this
Yeah.
is the floor, Miss Geraldine.
Thank you so much, Jester. Of course, as I've said a while ago, we will have a very big job fair. Trabajo, negosyo, kabuhayan, job and business fair, which will be in time for celebration of Independence Day on June 12 at the Iglesia ni Cristo Arena in Bukawi, Bulacan.
Mhm.
So after that, of course, will be June 30, will be the swearing in of the new president. Therefore, we will be waiting for new developments. But we are still continuing with the regular programs parang ano, TV, no, tsaka
Mhm.
radio, with the programs regularly implemented by the Department of Labor. Of course, as you've said, Jester, we have TUPAD. Then we
Right.
also have our trainings, orientations, and we have labor standards and occupational safety and health inspections.
Mhm.
Then we have other programs like the SENA. If there are some problems, you can request for assistance. So you know naman what is the mandate of the Department of Labor. As HR, you are always in close coordination with us. We are always very happy to have you as our partners. Therefore, whatever you think would be necessary for us to be able to assist you, then we will be very happy to provide you with that. And on the other hand, we are always appealing to you to continue partnering with us in the implementation of our programs, because it's easier if we have partners like CHRC, of course, the human resource management associations of Clark, and then the other provinces and other eco zones.
Mhm.
Yun yung gusto ko sanang sabihin, na palagi po tayong um, makinig, or tingnan natin kung ano yung mga updates na pwedeng ibigay ng DOLE, at ano yung pwede nating pag-partnerin
Mhm.
para lalo tayong lalong maging easy, no, yung pagpo-provide natin ng services.
Mhm, ayun. Thank you very much, RD, Geraldine Panlilio, and of course,
Thank you,
I'd also like
Jester.
to take this opportunity to invite other companies who are not a member of Clark HR Council yet. So again, Clark HR Council is an organization for Clark, no, or not even Clark, even Central Luzon, no, na companies, no. So if you're not a member yet, no, feel free to join us via the www.clarkhrcouncil.org/join. So RD would also like to take this opportunity to mention some of the member benefits, no? Most especially that we're actually working hand in hand with the satellite office of DOLE, no? Napaka-active nila sa pag-provide sa amin ng mga information. So in this regard though, if you would like to join the CHRC, you will be able to get HR and labor updates, no, to stay on the top of the updates, no, concerning Central Luzon and even nationwide. We also have the access to Ask HR and HR Forum serving as the collaboration and networking platform. The access to JobLink portal. This is a feature-rich job posting and applicant tracking platforms. Member insights, even HR templates, we're providing those, no, to share and download, no, for every HR employee situation. We're even providing providers directory for the updated list of HR vendors and service providers. HR library no, to continuously grow within access to full editions of HR related ebooks, and of course, updates on the upcoming job fairs, weekly learning sessions like this, and of course, general membership meeting. So again, if you're not a member yet, no, be a council member today at clarkhrcouncil.org/join. So of course, in this regard, we would like to thank everyone, no, who have watched us, no, sa ating Facebook page, no, coming from various locations. Of course, we would like to thank RD Geraldine Panlilio for giving, no, her precious time to provide us with this timely, no, and of course, no, very fortunate updates, no, dito sa ating region. So in this regard, no, maraming salamat po, at mag-ingat sila, and of course we hope to see you soon dito sa ating upcoming few episodes, no, next other Tuesday. So with that, maraming maraming salamat po, at of course, no, mabuhay po sila. Ayan, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.